guys, welcome back to another episode of Spotlight. We are so excited today to have Karolina all the way from Poland. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great and I'm very excited to be here with you tonight.
Excellent. So we actually met at a conference a while back and then stayed in touch because we just kept on chatting, and it was really, really great every time that we got to talk. And I'm always learning so much from you and what you guys are doing. It's so exciting. So Carolina is part of a VC firm out in Europe, and she's out doing Series A investing. So tell us more about what kind of things you guys invest in, and a little bit more about the firm and about yourself.
Of course, yeah. Thank you very much, first of all, for inviting me. So I'm working on daily basis for ICOS Capital. We are a Dutch fund. We have our headquarters in the Netherlands, but we are also having the second office in Poland. As you mentioned, we do mainly Series A deals. However, we also do Series B. Our focus is on four areas. It is food tech, agriculture, industry 4.0, and chemicals. And we have a strong preference for deep tech and sustainability solutions, and we really pay attention to that, to like those all of these things connected with SDG goals, etc. And we invest across Europe and in Israel. This is our third fund, so we are still actively looking for new interesting deals.
That is fantastic. And so, what takes up most of your time during your day to day? What does your job kind of look like on a day to day basis?
Yeah, probably I would say investments. So I'm heavily involved, like even like in a couple of deals right now. Of course, there is one that I'm focused on. However, yeah, I would say that probably up to 75 or 80% of my time is currently like being focused on deal making, and also some of my time is allocated to portfolio, and especially working with one company where I'm an observer in the board, but also helping some other companies where I can bring some value. And also a small part of it is sourcing, but mainly through conferences like the one that we met, and working with the rest of the teams on some operational stuff. But deal making is like the biggest part of my current job.
Yeah, absolutely. And at Series A level is usually when a lot of startups are thinking about who their board of directors are going to be. And so, do you
Yeah,
have any advice for people that are going into Series A for the first time and really having those thoughts? What's your number
yeah.
one tip to give these founders?
Yeah, so in terms of constructing a board for those companies, I think it's important at this level to really have somebody who knows the industry and can help those companies to scale. So I think it's really important for them, first of all, to define how the board should work with each other, because maybe they already have some investors that are good with scaling, but maybe they are lacking the industry knowledge or contacts. So it's good to see how those forces in the board will be allocated, and also to really find like a good person that is having this industrial in-depth knowledge and will be able to help this company to scale. So think carefully about this superstar who will be giving this value to your company.
Excellent. And of course, we all know because I work in with a lot of C companies, being an angel
Yeah,
myself, and we
yeah.
do work with a lot of Series A companies. But having that gap becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger is, of course, really hard for startups. So, what tips do you have to give seed stage companies, extra leg up or leverage, or a positive shine as they
Mhm.
go towards a Series A?
Yeah, I think that probably one of the advices that I'm always giving is that first, really make sure that everything is put in order before you start scaling, because otherwise you're also scaling your bad habits and some processes that are not really worked out yet in the company. So first, really make sure that you know what you want to scale, and those processes that you will be scaling, they will be good, because otherwise you will be in a point in the future where you will scale something that is not really working, and you need to, for example, make a huge pivot to make it work again. And it's much more harder when you have like 50 people, not five. So it's totally a different game. So make sure that it's figured out before that.
That is excellent. And so I know that in this particular industry, just because I also work in this industry, there aren't actually a lot
Yeah,
of young females that get to come into this kind of a career.
yeah,
It is not easy to get into. So tell us about
yeah.
your journey, what attracted you to investments, and your journey on the way to this firm that you're at now.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, I was always interested both in business and technology. So I started to work with startups, in startups, around startups. And probably this is not typical for people in this business because usually when you ask somebody, how do you get into venture capital? They are answering, oh, by accident, because I was working somewhere and they scouted me or something. But in my case, it was really planned. Like I wanted to learn how the good companies should look like, how they should scale in order to really in the future work with some of those companies, really bring value in them. And I defined that venture capital is like a perfect match in terms of my interests, my strong sides, and also the things that I want to do in the future. And I decided that one day I want to be in a VC. And yeah, and basically it happened. That was a funny story because I met one person who asked me, maybe you will work for our venture capital fund because I was already like somewhere around startups. And I said, yeah, I was thinking about it. That's perfect. And I must admit that I now cannot imagine to go to another work. Maybe working in a startup will be a nice experience and nice adventure, but I cannot consider going, for example, into corporate world or something like that because I'm so into, like I just love what I'm doing on daily basis. So basically, I feel like I'm doing something and they are paying me for doing what I like, for learning and for doing interesting things with interesting people.
I think that people go into startup hoping to have, that day to day and that ambition that you currently get to experience. So it's
Yeah,
fantastic to hear. And
yeah,
so, of course, when you graduated from university and then you were working, and it was
yeah,
so interesting that you get to leverage the skills that you knew that you had to help on the projects that you were genuinely interested in. But why did
yeah.
you go towards startup instead of a corporate? So, what did you see during that time that you were kind of making those choices?
Yeah, I think that the first thing that probably I saw as a student, because I was taking part in all of those university related events, I saw that in startups, there are the people with whom could imagine myself working in the future. So people who really wanted to change something. And I was really like coming from, I would say, strong NGO kind of a background. Like I was always involved in some kind of NGO initiatives. And when I started meeting with those people who really were planning to change the world and having those great ideas, and this is why, for example, right now I'm so well with ICOS because they are investing also in impact projects, in SDG related projects, and it's still something that is very close to my life values. And when I got into startups, I saw that this is the community where those people with whom I want to work, whom I want to help are, and this is something that I definitely, maybe this is just my experience, but I didn't at that time observe it as much in corporations. So then you usually have like smaller tasks, not really like a nice motivation, and this is what attracted me to this community, to this like amazing people and projects.
That is great. And so, what do you
Yeah.
see as the vision of the future of your firm if you got to kind of summarize it in one thought?
Yeah. Yeah, probably in one thought, we will be a firm that will be still making deep tech and sustainability investment that will transform in a positive way the people's lives and the environmental issues around us. So to make a positive change in the world that really will be like done through technology. And I strongly believe that this is something that the world needs right now.
That is perfect because it's the kind of thing that is a really, really big mission. And so, we definitely
Yeah.
have a lot of horsepower to power through those kinds of initiatives and missions. So, that is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and I feel like technology is really giving you the tools to do it because it's like really impact as we can see around us. Like everything is changing so fast.
Absolutely, and of course, we were talking during the conference as well about the number of
Yeah,
women and diverse groups and marginalized groups
yeah,
who were chosen or not chosen to go into funding or startup or VC. Why do you
yeah,
think it's still, an issue that we talk about today? Because we got to see all of these heads of VC firms when we were at the conference, for example, talk about this is still an issue. This is how some countries are doing it. This is how others are doing it. But
yeah.
what are your thoughts around these kinds of issues?
Yeah, I think that in general, it's like obvious thing that there is like female investors are underrepresented as well as female founders. And I think that the thought probably from the conference that we attended that really struck me is that the female funders are usually being invested by female VCs. So usually people are investing in people who are somehow similar to them. So basically, I think and I believe that in order to also increase the number of female founders in the industry, we should give them an option to also be more understood by investors. And females probably can do it much more like better on some points because there's almost already this connection, like when we talk to each other. Yeah.
That's absolutely true. And some of my favorite people are female investors that I get to talk to. I even do like city walk tours around as though we can travel. So
yeah,
that we have we have those opportunities as well.
yeah, hopefully.
Much for telling us a bit about yourself and about your firm. I'm sure that our listeners are so excited to learn more about these great investment opportunities that are out there, and we'll reach out to you, of course. So I've also asked you if you can take out 2 pieces of paper because we're going to play a little game. Awesome.
Perfect.
So what we're going to do is that we're going to write down one thing that is true and one thing that is a lie. So I'm going to give us both a moment just to do that, and then we're going to see if we can guess each other's.
Okay.
Okay, I am done. Do you? Great.
So do I.
I'm going to show you mine first, so then you can guess
yes.
first. All right. So one is 70%, 75% of my diet is vegan. Then the other one is I ate snake and donkey in China.
Okay, I think that both of the things are possible, but probably this percentage is like that's a very specific thing. So maybe you are trying to fool me here. So I think I will go with the snake and donkey in China.
You think this one is true?
Yeah.
You're right. Yay! And yes,
I am. Wow. Really? Okay.
For you.
Yeah. Okay.
50% of my diet is vegan or vegetarian, but I do like to try new, interesting, insane foods when I am traveling in other places because,
wow.
Why not?
But I'm so surprised because usually I'm getting such games very wrong. So I'm happy that I won.
You're getting better.
Yeah, definitely I am. Okay, so let me show you my things. Mine are a little bit longer. So the first one.
Okay.
So
3 years ago, while alone, I got lost in a national park in
Macedonia.
Oh, Macedonia. Okay, that's what it says.
Yeah, this is the first one, and the second one.
That is also during my 3 months of living in
Sardinia.
Sardinia. Okay.
Yeah.
I learned to surf.
Yeah.
Those are all so specific too. They're like literally
I know.
different stories. Okay, so I would say it's so much easier to get lost in a national park. I'm gonna go with the first one. 3 years ago, you got lost.
You're right. So today we were both right. So high five.
Oh,
Joshua.
You guys didn't see it, but we were doing that earlier too.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Karolina, for coming onto our show and for sharing and for letting us get to know you a little bit better. It was so awesome to do that. It is always great to talk to you, of course.
My pleasure.
Can you please tell us about an initiative or a startup or an investment that you're very excited about?
Yeah, of course. So probably I will mention the last deal that I closed, and this is the Irish company. However, they are originally coming from New Zealand, and this is Invert Robotics. They are doing inspections using crawlers, and I'm really excited about this deal mainly because of the technology and the team that I think is great. And we just invested, so I really hope that this will be a nice deal and nice, of course, exit for us as an investor. But first of all, I'm really happy that they are really solving and trying to solve the problem that is in the industry, which is like trying to take people away from confined and dangerous spaces. And I hope that they will really contribute to solving this problem.
Oh, fantastic. That is wonderful. So you guys, we're going to link their website in the descriptions below, so be sure to check them out. And Carolina, thank you so much for coming on to our show. It was wonderful to have you. And if anybody wants to get in touch with you, where is the best place that they can find you or speak to you or ask questions?
Yeah, it's always LinkedIn. So feel free to contact me on LinkedIn. I'm trying always to be as responsive as possible.
Perfect. So be sure to look out for that as well, you guys. All right, awesome. Until next time,
Yeah,
bye.
thank you. Bye bye.